give you the tips and the strategies you need for marketing, because at the beginning, you're really thinking about what do I stand for? What's my vision? What's my branding?
Yeah.
And I think that once you have that down packed and you start diving into creation and creating your products, then you realize, okay, how do I market myself? How do I present myself?
Welcome to Thriving Teacher Talk. I'm your host, Jillian Fernandez. I'm a former teacher from New York turned full-time mom and teacherpreneur on a mission to help you create a profitable and sustainable income selling your teaching resources or services. I'm here to make your life easier by giving you the best advice, trainings, and mindset shifts to grow your business, and most importantly, save you time and sanity. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Thriving Teacher Talk. Today, we're going to be joined by Stephanie Marrero, an expert in secondary math education. Stephanie is passionate about helping teachers implement effective differentiation strategies in order to reach all of their learners and to feel confident and prepared while doing so. As a former special education teacher, Stephanie understands the challenges that come with trying to meet the needs of every student in a single lesson. With her years of experience, she knows just how crucial it is to provide support for all learners without losing sweat. Join us as Stephanie shares her insights and expertise on how to differentiate instruction effectively and how this can benefit both teachers and their students. Let's get into it. Okay, so welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to have Stephanie here with us today you changed your name. So you used to be Sped Dreams, right? And now you're Algebra Made Simple. So
Yep.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted you to just tell us a little bit about your background, like who you are, what you offer, what you do like in your spare time, and how you became a teacherpreneur.
So I've been working in education for the last 11 years. I've taught in both middle school and high school, primarily working with students with learning disabilities, since my certification is in special education. So I worked as a self-contained math teacher for the first 5 years of my career, and then as an Algebra 1 SPED teacher for the last 6 years. And I decided to open up a TPT store in 2019, but it just kind of sat there. It didn't really have anything. And then I started seeing this girl named Jillian Fernandez on my Instagram feed. And she was offering coaching along with a course on how to really sell your resources on Teachers Pay Teachers. So I was like, why not take a leap of faith and invest in myself? So I did that in November 2020, and I've been selling my resources on TPT for the last 2 years. Yep.
That's awesome. And what do you primarily sell on Teachers Pay Teachers?
So I primarily focus on secondary math, digital and printable resources that really save teachers time and really give them activities that are meaningful for students, and then really focus on the students who are struggling the most in secondary math. So I have a lot of interactive guided notes, a lot of digital self-checking activities, activities that are really focused on active learning, like tic-tac boards, choice boards, math stations, things like that.
Awesome. So I know it's difficult, especially because you were a full-time teacher up until this year, right? So I don't know if you guys know yet, but Stephanie is no longer in the classroom, but she was a full-time teacher and she had to balance having this business and family life with 2 young children. How do you feel like you were able to kind of balance everything out?
I think it really came down to scheduling and having a routine. At the beginning, anytime you start any endeavor, it's going to feel very overwhelming at the beginning if you don't have a plan or some type of organized routine where you're going to say, I'm going to dedicate an hour to this. And I was really lucky that I have a really supportive husband that would handle bath time and bedtime for me on some nights. So I really think that I was able to push through by being really consistent and having a routine going into this entire journey. Yeah.
Now, do you feel like it's easier, more difficult being home now and trying to manage? Because I remember when I first started, when I stopped teaching, I felt like it was so hard to come up with a set schedule because I almost felt like I could do more because I was kind of in motion already as a teacher. So when I got home, I felt like I still had that routine going and could get a lot more done. It was really difficult for me personally to get on a set schedule my first year being home with my daughter. How do you feel about all of that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think motivation is part of it. You kind of get into this loop of being home with your kids. And, if you are a parent or have children in your life, that they can sometimes take over. So I did feel like the first couple weeks I was kind of struggling with, well, what do I work on and how much time do I devote to this? And then you do get that guilt trip as a mom, like, oh my God, why am I on Instagram right now when I need to be with my toddler, right? So I do think the word balance comes to mind. And especially because you want to make sure that you are living the life that you want to live. And for me, I want to make sure that I'm balancing my work life and my personal life and family life. So I try not to do any like creation or product creation during the day. I usually work an hour or two a night. And then during the day, I do check social media here and there, but I'm really like just with my kids right now at this point. Maybe during breakfast, I'll have my laptop open. I really don't like sit down and work through during the day. It's pretty hard. But I think once my toddler starts school, I would be able to do a little bit here and there during the day.
Yeah. So do you still feel like you are on a trajectory upward with being home and everything like that, being that you don't have as much time? Or
I think so. I think the whole point of getting into entrepreneurship is to focus more on how your time is spent, not necessarily income. And I think that I have the privilege now of not having to work while still earning the income that I would be earning as a teacher. And I think that that's what I need to kind of focus on.
yeah.
And sometimes you have like these higher expectations in terms of being productive and whatnot, but sometimes not doing anything is being just as productive.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do think I have no regrets about leaving the classroom. I'm definitely much happier and less stressed.
Good. And what inspired you to actually leave?
I think is these last couple years have kind of been like, I don't know, distorted in education somehow, with online learning, the pandemic, and then starting TPT. I started seeing more faces of teachers that were doing just that. They were leaving the classroom, leaving the profession or the traditional profession of working primarily face-to-face with students, and they are still having an impact on teachers. And I think that I still want to have that impact on education, just not in the classroom. And then I have my kids. For those of you that follow me, you know that my toddler is special needs. He's autistic. He's nonverbal. So he really needs my undivided attention. And coming from the background that I come from, I know how important these next couple years are for him. Yes, so I want to be home with my kids, and just the stress of education. I think that we all know we all know the game has changed tremendously after the pandemic, a lot with, the lagging skills that students are experiencing, not just students with IEPs, mainstream students, general education students are experiencing a lot of need. And there's just not that many resources or supports being given by districts. If you are in a district that's giving you the resources that you need, you are very lucky. So stay.
Right. But if you're not happy, you have to do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Sure. So can you take us through a little bit about the steps you took to grow your TPT business and become successful so that you kind of had that opportunity to leave the classroom?
I definitely dived right into your course, Jillian, Thriving Teacher Academy. I think that I could have done the DIY, but I, again, being a parent and having so many roles to play, I did not think that was going to be the right route for me. Right. So I definitely think that taking a course is going to give you kind of the tools and resources to streamline your creation process and really give you the tips and the strategies you need for marketing. Because at the beginning, you're really thinking about, what do I stand for? What's my vision? What's my branding? Yeah. And I think that once you have that down packed and you start diving into creation and creating your products, then you realize, okay, how do I market myself? How do I present myself? Am I going to do social media? Am I going to do Pinterest? Am I going to do Instagram? And having access to a course along with like a private Facebook community where you can have people as like a sounding board and thinking tanks really help. So I feel like at the beginning, I focused on creating products, creating my brand, who I was, and then I moved into like social media.
Yeah. I love our Facebook group too. I feel like we have so many amazing humans in there who are so supportive. So
yes,
it's really awesome. And now you're like branching out and doing all these other things, and you're going to be creating your own course, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'm super excited.
So exciting.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I also have Jillian's course creation academy course. I have always wanted to kind of create my own workshop or PD for teachers, and being that my background is in special education, I feel like sometimes as SPED teachers, you're working with so many students who have so many different needs, and then you throw in a state exam in there and it feels like the stakes are high. And maybe you don't have access to resources or activities that really target the skills that your students need. So I realized that there's a gap, there's a need in terms of differentiation and test prep. So I wanted to create a course that really focused on how to create a test prep plan that lives up to the expectations of state testing, while also providing the students with the resources and activities that they need to really build those skills. So my course is going to be about making differentiation simple, but the test prep edition.
Yes, like simple and effective. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I know you've been working really hard on getting it all up and running. And so if teachers want to get into something like this, when can they expect to see it all up and running? And what do they need to do to get in there?
So I'm hoping to finish it by like the second week of March. It'll definitely be launched in March. You can follow me on my Instagram, on my social media, on TikTok, and definitely get on my email list because I will be dropping hints here and there for when it's dropping, but it's definitely coming soon within the next month.
So exciting.
Yeah.
And so with everything that you've been doing, like you've been doing so much and I'm so proud of you and all your progress, but obviously with any business and anything that you're going to pursue, you're faced with lots of challenges. So can you tell us, like, in your career so far, what do you feel has been the biggest challenge that you face in your journey?
I feel like this is something that you talk about, Jillian, too, in your course, imposter syndrome, because I felt at the beginning that I wasn't as experienced as other people, and you start comparing yourself and you're like, oh my God, are people going to take me seriously? Are people going to find my resources helpful? And I feel like that was the biggest challenge, is within yourself, like first believing that you're experienced, you're knowledgeable, you have resources that teachers are going to find helpful. That was the biggest journey.
Yeah. And you still, I mean, that obviously pops up no matter what, because you're always going to experience self-doubt. You're always going to experience those feelings, but being able to take that leap of faith on yourself and believe in yourself helps you overcome a lot of those things. So yeah. And so for teachers who are just starting out on their own teacherpreneur journey, what advice would you give to them?
I would tell them to trust the process, because the process is definitely going to involve maybe some failures, or what you think are failures, because we all have high expectations for ourselves. But you should think about it as like kind of failing forward, because everything you experience is just going to make you a better entrepreneur. So definitely just trust the process and know that you're on your own timeline, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I like that term you just used, failing forward. I think it's important to know that those failures are kind of what makes you learn the most about yourself and your business. And so, yeah, knowing that they're going to be there and not letting it overcome you and make you stuck is really important. And so, what are your future goals for your teacherpreneur business? And what do you think, what steps do you have in place to actually achieve those?
So I want to continue to support teachers in feeling not only prepared, but confident in their ability to differentiate math instruction to meet the needs of their students. So I definitely want to be able to provide teachers more resources more consistently. So I have been playing with the thought of a membership, but I know that that's a lot of stress on me as well. But since I'll be home, I think that I would be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm really leaning into what teachers need. So feedback is super important for me. I'm always asking my subscribers, what do you need? What do you need? As long as I keep that in mind with teacher voice, right? And making sure that I'm keeping in tune with what's going on in education, I'm going to continue to provide those resources and provide more mini workshops, because I think that teachers don't have that much time, right? So hopefully like a 30-minute, 45-minute workshops would be helpful to them.
Yeah. And are you planning to have like a Facebook community with your course as well?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So they'll have support with not just from you, but from other teachers as well who are experiencing kind of similar.
Exactly. So we can all problem solve together.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was awesome. I can't wait to see all the things that you do with your teacherpreneur journey. And I'm excited to see how your course all plays out. I know it's going to be super
Me too.
helpful
I'm
for
super
teachers.
excited. I'm super excited for it. I now understand how Jillian feels every time she's doing a launch, because it is so much work.
Yeah, definitely. But it'll be worth it. And it's like, it becomes like your baby, right? Because you put all this work and effort into it, and you know you're putting your heart and soul into these different programs and workshops and information for teachers. So, and teachers are going to get so much out of it, which is important.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited for your journey. And is there anything else that you want? Oh, let us know how we can like find you. Tell us all of your like handles and everything, because obviously everybody wants to come and see. all the things you have to offer.
Yes. So you can follow me on Instagram at Algebra Made Simple, also on TikTok with the same handle. And whichever one you decide to follow me on, I always have my link in my bio where you can get on my email list to get some goodies. So yeah, that's how you can keep in contact with me.
All right. And I'll put all of your links in the show notes. So if you want to just click those links below, get in touch with Stephanie and become her best friend. She'll be there for you. She is amazing. So definitely make sure you give her a follow and check out all of her links. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. And I'll chat
Thank
with
you
you
for having
soon.
me, Jillian.
Bye. Be sure to head over to our free Facebook group, Thriving Teacher Tips, and let us know your takeaways from today's episode. I look forward to hearing from you. If you loved this episode, be sure to subscribe so you can catch all new episodes. Leave a review if something resonated, or even just send me a DM. Thank you for letting me into your business and your life today. We are going to love growing together as you create a profitable and sustainable income selling your teaching resources or services. I'm so honored to be here to make your life a little bit easier with the best advice, training, and mindset shifts to grow your business, and most importantly, save you time and sanity. And I'll see you in the next one.